Hello and welcome to Cheshire Audio. Now this is the long-awaited Dali Oberon 5 review. I've been promising this for weeks, so sorry about that. And even now there's complications because normally I would do this in the top dem room. I mean, I've had them running in, as I've mentioned in previous videos, down in the shop they've had about a week running in, then I've took them upstairs and tried them with different equipment. Was just poised ready to do the review up there, and somebody's booked in for the room, so I've pulled everything out, set another system up in there, and the Dali Oberons are back downstairs. So I'm going to do it down here. It should be okay, as long as hopefully I won't get too disturbed by people walking in and things. It is quiet, so I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest. So yeah, let's have a look. My pair of Oberons are down here. I've got these are the light oak finish, which gives you the white front panel. There's also like a dark walnut, which is a black front panel, and pure white, which is white front, white surround, and then black, which is black and black, obviously. The finish on these, I really like the finish of these. It is vinyl, so it's sort of a budget finish, kind of, but it's got a really nice textury feel to it, and it's a very convincing wood finish, actually. I think an awful lot of the vinyl sort of fake woods that you get just don't really cut it to me. They're getting very good at it nowadays, but these are really good. And they're not, what I like about them is they're not a big floor stander. If you compare them to, well, obviously not side by side, but generally we're looking at much bigger stuff. So these are quite a compact little floor stander. So on that basis, they do seem to work okay in smaller rooms. I mean, but then again, they do seem to project okay for a larger living room, really. So I think they'd fit in quite well for people because like I said, they're not really going to dominate a room. The drive units are interesting as well. I mean, Dali do use their own drive units. Soft dome treble unit. It's some sort of wood-based, possibly fibre glassy-based material they use for the drivers, which is really, really light. I mean, the Danish, sort of the masters of drive units, I think most of the best drive units in the world are made by the Danish. So the fact that Dali do their own is nothing to worry about, to be honest. I think that's probably one of the best parts of the speaker is the actual driver. Because in my view, these sound way better than they should do for the money and for the size of them, to be honest. They project really well. They've got a big open natural sound. They've got quite surprising bass depth. For such a small floor stander, they do have really good bass extension, and it's not forced like some of them sort of mass market competitors for these. They tend to have a bit of a bass hump to make them sound bigger than they are. The Dalis don't seem to do that. They just seem to have a continuous flat response, lower than you'd expect them to. But the main thing, I think, sound quality-wise with these, is they seem to have a very sort of free, very involving sound. They do seem, because I think an awful lot of mass market speakers sound very bland and very congested now, as though they've overdone the crossovers and they're trying so hard to make the things measure flat. But the Dalis don't seem to have that constricted sound. They do seem to be they sound like a speaker from a much higher price bracket to me, these. So yeah, I've been really pleased, and I don't often get sort of this excited about sort of mid to low price floor standers, really. I mean, these are about how much are these? They're about 850, I think. I'll check that. I'll put the price up on the screen in a bit because I can never remember prices. But as of October 2022, they are whatever price I put on the screen. You know me, I can't remember prices, but there's no real competition for them, and things like, I think the closest in competition probably would be bronze fives. I keep calling them bronze fives, bronze hundreds, which I don't think are as pretty, and I think although I don't think they're as constricted sounding as a lot of the sort of big name competition, they just don't seem to have that sort of free and easy sound that the Dalis do. I mean, certain systems, I think these would be okay. I think as long as you're not going to upgrade too much, because I think these sort of hit a limit if you improve the system, they seem as though they get to the point where they don't really improve very much. Whereas the Dalis, I've had them quite a few things upstairs, from a Riga IO up to an LX. I had them running on a Sugden at one point. I had them running on an Atoll IN100, which worked really well with them, actually. In fact, on the system downstairs, which is a a CD100 from Atoll and an IN100 from Atoll, that combination just seemed to be quite almost magical. Actually, worked really, really well. So yeah, back panel. Let's have a look at the back panel. Just tipping it forward in a very sort of random way. What I'll do is I'll move these out actually, so I can have a proper look at it. It's got a surprisingly large port actually, but saying that, they don't seem to be too worried about, you know, they need a bit of space behind, but they don't seem to have any sort of issues port-wise. Just single wire, which most of the better speakers seem to be now. Decent, actually quite decent quality connectors on these. So we've got binding post and 4mm on the back there. So yeah, that's about it really. I think power ratings, I can't even read it, to be honest. It's not something that really matters. People get very confused about power ratings. I get that in the shop actually. I'm going to get that straight because it's annoying me. I get a lot of people come into the shop who sort of don't know an awful lot about hi-fi. And the first thing they'll say is, "Hey mate, how powerful are these speakers?" And they're wanting to know how many watts they are. Speakers don't have power. The amplifiers have power. The rating is basically just how many watts you can put into them before they blow. And even that's not particularly telling you very much. The efficiency and all that sort of thing tells you a lot more about how loud speakers will go. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. The other thing that I really like about these, and I'm not a great fan of speaker grills, but the wrong way up, get it right. The grills are lovely. I really like these. It's like, here you go. It's almost like a sort of coarse, sort of Hessian type fin. No, it isn't Hessian, but it's got that sort of feel to it. It's sort of a pale grey, really sort of textury and just looks really good quality. If you have the black front, you get the black, more black version. It's a really dark, almost graphite colour on the black speaker. Not absolutely black, but nearly. But normally I would just never put grills on speakers, but I think actually that looks really good. I think it's got a definite sort of Danishy, sort of Scandinavian look to it. But yeah, I really like it. I think it's been, I actually think this will do really, really well. And it's, in some ways, I can't see why you would spend much more money on this unless you're going to go into the real sort of specialist brand like your sort of Neats and Ophidians and Fine Audio, well, the better end Fine Audios and things like that. These just cover so many areas. Yeah, that's it really. I think, as you can see, I really like them. I've been really bowled over by how good these are. And I think these are sort of almost like the sort of gem in the range, really. I mean, the Opticons are brilliant and the little minuets are brilliant and whatever, but that particular model at that price just seems to cover so many things that you would want out of a speaker. It doesn't impose in a room. It's fairly easy to drive. It doesn't seem to be that fussy about what you put into it, but if you put better stuff on it, they keep getting better. They don't limit what's going on. So, yeah, recommended. Really like them. I'll do so. I need to sort of listen to more of the models in the range. So don't sort of. I'm not sort of saying this is the only one I like. I really like the little minuets, as I've said before. I think they're superb little monitors. What else have I listened to? I like the Opticon 6s actually. I think I think they need a much bigger room. There's a few more compromises you have to make with the Opticon 6. I think because it is a big speaker and it probably does need a bit more to get it moving really. But yeah, Oberon 5s, recommended. Thanks for that. I'll see you in any future video. Don't forget to subscribe.